It's nonsense. You only throw it into the criminal area like you do with alcohol. You can't legislate behavior. You can only legislate misbehavior. Yeah. Who's been smoking 20, 30 years, or for that number, any. Right after this, about 4 o'clock, take a 5:30 plane back to New York.
How long?
Lost cigarettes for me.
How do you do, Mr. Grant? We got the whole group here this afternoon?
We have when we get everybody together.
Okay, I need to get everyone's name while I'm here. Before we start.
A small size, well, what?
No, transfer that way.
This electrocardiogram shows the quality of a heartbeat. Electrodes attached to this model's chest are detecting her normal heart activity. A heart attack occurs when the heart starts beating faster, and recent studies reveal when it comes to sudden deaths from heart attacks, women are catching up with men, evidently because more young women are becoming heavy smokers. Between sessions at the Heart Association meeting, I talked to heart researcher Dr. David Spain, who told me that 3 times as many women die from heart attacks now than 15 years ago. He's convinced that cigarettes are the reason. Why would you say that women are smoking more now than they did, say, 5 years ago?
It's probably part of the whole change in the cultural habits of women, part of the whole women's liberation, where they're assuming more and more of the rights and prerogatives and the habits of men.
So you think women are smoking just so they can say they're doing what men are doing?
Well, I don't think they're doing it on a conscious level. They're just availing themselves of these opportunities that men have all along.
Of course, this woman is only a model of a heart attack victim. But Dr. Spain told me that a lot of women smokers, as well as men, really end up in hospital beds with heart attacks because they use the excuse, well, I've been smoking so long that quitting really wouldn't help anyway. Well, evidently, you can put that excuse in the old wives' tale category. Research shows that if a person stops smoking within a short period of time, he won't be any more vulnerable to heart attacks than a person that's never smoked in his life. Martha McIntyre, Channel 8 News on the Move.
Highway 183 used to be the only highway that led in and out of Fort Worth from the northeast. As in the case of most major thoroughfares, there is a great density of businesses along its route. Now a group of business people feel that their livelihood is further threatened by the Chamber's proposal to take even more of their traffic and potential business away. The Chamber's Highway Committee claims that designating Highway 121A also as Highway 183 will make the regional airport easier to find and will cause less confusion. But the group of people I visited this afternoon at a motel in Haltom City say that it's just a bunch of poppycock, that the largest airport in the world won't be that hard to find. The spokesman for the group, businessman Joe Drummond, says the rerouting plan threatens at least 1,400 businesses on Highway 183 and that about 200 of them are prepared to fight.
We will certainly exercise very vigorous protest. If necessary, we will go to Austin and take delegations to Austin, appear before the State Highway Commission, and do all the other necessary governmental bodies to oppose this.
Mrs. Neal Moody says she has collected close to 200 names on a petition opposing the highway change. The entire group will take their argument to the Chamber of Commerce in Fort Worth December 1st. The Chamber is due to vote on the issue December 14th, but the final say-so will have to come from the Texas Highway Department. Jim Green, Channel 8 News on the Move in Fort Worth.
The slope in this case is a green carpet, and the snow is white plastic. A sign on the fence says it's the advanced slope, but it's really not. This is for people with zero experience for the real thing. This is the practice slope run by the ski skiller at the quadrangle. The run is measured in feet, not miles, about 80 feet altogether, which is almost too much for some beginners. People come here before heading for the mountains and real snow, and most of them today were trying to get ready for ski trips during the holidays. And it's probably a good thing the holidays aren't here yet, because the people on Mount Quadrangle this afternoon still needed a lot of practice. But at least they could take comfort in one thing: no one else on this slope was any better. Jack Hill, Channel 8 News on the Move. I'm wondering things like when the war in Vietnam fails.
It's big. Heaven knows that. It's. I think it's going to change as time goes by.
Sound. Roll cameras. Slate. Boy, did that bottle get out. Wake up. City, indicated target. Save your number. Roll your sound. Roll your camera. Action.
Okay, Pip? Yeah, he looks okay. Bicycle thefts are up 20% in Fort Worth. One policeman says the only way you can be sure your bike won't be stolen is to lock it in your house each night, and even then there's some risk. He also said that he believes the theft of bikes has always been as high, but now there's a way to keep an accurate record of thefts through Operation Pink. Pink is a system whereby the owner permanently etches his driver's license number on the bicycle frame. Since Pink came into operation, some innovative owner of man's best friend decided his license number could also be etched on Rover's body. So when Rover goes carousing, he could be recovered from the pound easily and possibly deter any would-be dog-napper. That thought is met with some degree of success, and as an added incentive, they say it doesn't hurt Poochie a bit. Since our family's poodle Peppy also happens to be our only child, or it would seem, I decided to take the extra precaution, much to Peppy's apprehension. Most veterinarians in Fort Worth and the suburbs will perform the rather minor technique with permanent ink, and in this case it was Doctors Robert Abels and Harold Putnam. Under a light anesthetic, Peppy received my driver's license number with no complications. The only problem that might arise in the future is when our license number expires, will Peppy have to send in his leg for a renewal? Jim Green, Channel 8 News on the Move, Fort Worth.
A group of Dallas Skyline High School students have embarked on what could be considered a new adventure, that adventure being the production of public service commercials for television. Today, in pretty chilly weather, the TV and cinematography clusters from Skyline worked for about 4 hours on this commercial on drunken driving. The students were contracted by DWI Dallas, a nonprofit organization funded by the Texas Traffic Safety Administration, to produce an entire visual campaign on the hazards of driving while intoxicated. Besides this 30-second ad, which will be ready for airing in about 2 weeks, the students will also produce a 60-second commercial and a 30-minute feature. Soon the students will be going out with instructors on actual DWI accident cases with Dallas police in preparation for that feature. The students say they hope they can do more public service commercials, but maybe not in such cold weather. For Channel 8 News on the Move, this is June Gray.
Contract, isn't it? Hoping that it'd be the same one that's
For extends its influence to the passage of House Bill number 5.
I second. Wait just a moment. That's the please. King Louis. All right,
3,000 and no ceiling. You can exempt the total property of this 65 a year or older. Also included in this is something about our bond indebtedness, and this to me is not quite clear, and that's the reason why I think there needs to be a total study of it. Also, I think the county auditor should be involved in this. I think we need to know what the tax dollar will be.
As much as we've been very fortunate in Dallas County not to have to raise taxes in the last few years, is just how much money we're talking about and where we're going to get, who's going to pay the other side of it. If it's $1.5 million, do we increase taxes on everything over a $12,000 house or whatever the case may be? So we need to look at this very carefully.
On the subject of ecology and environment of the river, Jones said the Arkansas River improved tremendously with canalization. He said what used to be just a muddy river now has clear blue water without pollution. Jim Green, Channel 8 News on the Move, Fort Worth.
Right, Vern, they're all real big right now. We're tied with Los Angeles. Well, Atlanta, if they win the Monday night game tonight, then of course they go into the lead. But they're all big right now, and each game is very important. And of course, anything can happen right now. So you really just have to play them one at a time and win as many as you can.
Can you feel, Steve, now that you've had...
Got my bag right here.
The Love Field situation was studied for about a year before the consulting firm released a summary today of its findings. A number of reasons were listed for developing the airport into a general aviation facility. The report said the demand for general aviation is growing so rapidly in the Dallas area that its continued expansion will be limited in only 3 years if Love Field or equivalent facilities aren't available. The report said the economic benefits in terms of tax revenues, employment, and business for the Dallas area will be greater if Love Field remains an airport than if it were developed for non-aviation facilities. Additionally, the report indicated the demand for Love Field as a general aviation airport is stronger than the demand for any other kind of development. And under this concept, the report said, Love Field would be self-supporting, provided ground rentals and landing fees are adjusted. The report concludes that the development of Love Field into a general aviation facility is an essential part of a regional system of transportation designed to take full advantage of the air ocean which surrounds a landlocked Dallas. And it appears the City Council is in basic agreement with these recommendations since the city staff already is taking steps for the conversion. Jack Hill, Channel 8 News on the Move.
The key toward peace in the Middle East is recognition on the part of the Arabs that Israel has as much a right to survival and to peace and to security as anybody else, as any other country in the Middle East, and any country for that matter anywhere. This they have so far failed to grant us. Once they do that, and the best way of doing that is simply to sit down with us and negotiate whatever outstanding issues exist between us, then I think the stage will have been set for the making of a true peace in the Middle East.
Why do you feel the idea of an independent investigation is so important in your list of recommendations? We've already had some investigations of the police in this situation.
I restate my position that this independent investigation is on. Yes.
Tell me about the Urban League in Dallas. It's very active. I've only been here less than a year.
Very active,
I haven't heard much about the Urban League.
No change whatsoever. We think we have a good policy and we plan to continue to implement that policy, which in effect results in strong discipline in our schools. If the investigations of these shootings, in order to get a complete settlement of the thing and allay the fears that there is a double standard, why would anybody object to having an independent investigation? That would certainly go a long ways towards satisfying a feeling that exists in the black community.
If there were an independent investigation and all the policemen involved in these shootings were cleared, would that make any difference in the black community?
Sure it would.
Why?
they've been cleared by an independent body. When I get ready for my books to be audited, I get a certified public accountant, you see. Then I abide by whatever the decision that he tells me. The black community would accept the report of an independent investigation at high level, yes.
Without proposing to speculate as to percentages of sympathizers as opposed to curiosity seekers, Normal spokesman told me they were quite pleased with the crowd at the Hereford Student Center this noon. The first speaker was a UTA student and part-time Seagoville prison inmate who shook my hand warmly and insisted his name is Peter Smith. Pete got busted last year for possession of 60 pounds of marijuana.
As far as I'm concerned, it's fine. Your food tastes better, makes sex better, makes music better to listen to. Of course, I no longer use it, but...
The national chairman of Normal is Keith Strupp, a lawyer from Washington, D.C.
Some of you may know about Normal, and if you do, then you have an idea of the approach we take. But for those of you who don't, you may find our approach a little bit different. First off, we take a very middle-class approach for a very good reason. We're more interested in being effective than in having fun. The point is, there are a lot of people in jail in this country right now for marijuana-related offenses, and as you know, in Texas there are more people in jail than in all the rest of the states together. Our concern right now, very simply, is that we want to change these laws in Texas. That's why we're here.
According to Strupp's figures, there are 90 million Americans who use alcohol, 24 million Americans who use marijuana. And by that judgment, he calls it a major, permanent, new recreational drug that isn't going anywhere. He called on the group here to talk to their legislators. He pointed out that 19% of the voters in the state of Texas are, as he called them, young people. He said the legislature just can't ignore that kind of power. Jerry Taft, Channel 8 News on the UTA campus in Arlington.
Richard Lloyd Jones, a Tulsa, Oklahoma newspaperman, told the Trinity Improvement Association that the canalization of the Trinity River will be as big or bigger boon to the Dallas-Fort Worth area than the regional airport. Jones said the canalization of the Arkansas River, which brought water transportation to Tulsa, presented many more benefits than had ever been expected. The first year the Arkansas Canal was open, barges carried 3 million tons of cargo. Only 1 million had been forecast. Jones answered some of my questions following the noon presentation to the TIA. He said the sound of tugboat whistles among the giant jets at the regional airport will present many surprises to the area.
A lot of shipping we didn't anticipate. Coal for Japan, peanuts to Amsterdam, soybeans for many parts of the world where the farmer can benefit by 30 cents higher price than can be paid by other forms of shipment. The benefits are immediate, and we're just now getting used to our river. We're just getting it underway.
The architects, the environmentalists, the sociologists, the economists, the urban planners, conservationists, the do-gooders, the little old ladies in tennis shoes have been having a field day taking pot shots at the highway program. And the crowning blow was the failure of Congress to pass the 1972 Federal Highway Act before it adjourned. This complicated our already confused financial situation. I'm sorry to have to tell you that for all practical purposes, the Texas Highway Department will be out of federal money within 60 days.
You know.
We haven't even started looking at the films yet. We have a meeting this afternoon, and of course then we'll look at their defenses, their coverages, and so forth, and see what we like to feature out of our passing attack and out of our running attack also. And then come Thursday, we just have a go at them, throw the ball around, run a little bit, and see what happens.
Steve, let me ask you one more time about the 4-day thing, coming off a game Sunday. And you've got to emotionally get up for another game. Is that the biggest factor, or is it injuries, or what?
Well, I think the biggest thing is when you have 7 days, the minor sprains and bruises, you have time to get them completely well. In fact, last week I had a twisted foot, and if we'd had to play Thursday, I don't think I could have been ready. I know I'd had to have limped on it pretty badly. But with the full 7 days, the foot was well by Sunday. So this is the biggest thing, and fortunately I don't think we had any bad injuries Sunday, and everybody should be well Thursday.
Hello? Hello, my name is Ann Smith of Solicitor's Land Company. Ma'am, the reason I called you is our company would like to personally invite you to a free week's vacation at one of our lakes. Oh, ma'am, I want you to understand that you are under no obligation to buy any of our property.
I just told you I'm not interested and I don't have the money. Bye. Contact 8 viewers in Dallas are annoyed by the simulated scene you have just witnessed between a telephone solicitor and a resident. Viewers ask, why doesn't Dallas have an ordinance protecting the citizen from the phone solicitor? Gene Denton, Dallas's assistant city manager, told me the city doesn't have an ordinance because the handicapped, elderly, and shut-in do use the phone for shopping purposes or as a home industry. Mr. Denton says not all solicitors are dishonest businessmen, so the city is hesitant to set up such an ordinance. If Dallasites will report all cases of harassment or misrepresentation by phone solicitors to the city's new Consumer Affairs Department, the department can file against businesses for unfair practices or can fine them for abuse. And another viewer from Dallas is concerned about dog pollution in her neighborhood. The Environmental Health Department will be glad to investigate any complaints concerning dog refuse and can force a dog owner to clean up the refuse. If you have any problems or questions, please write me at Contact 8, Communications Center, Dallas. That's Contact 8. I'm Cecile Burant.
Starvation Day, they called it, and for some it was exactly that, a day of fasting. For the rest of us who participated, the noon meal amounted to a bowl of beans, a chunk of cornbread, a glass of water, and the contribution of our customary lunch money to a fund to construct a nutrition center at Orosi, Costa Rica. The lady who provided inspiration and keynote remarks for the affair is Sister Marie Neal. She is chairman of sociology, Emmanuel College, Boston. Before we had our symbolic poverty lunch, Sister Marie addressed a gathering of concerned students. She pulled no punches in her presentation. She said America and all of the first world of capitalism produce goods for profit, not for use. We don't need people anymore in our world of technology, she said, so we get rid of them through war and starvation. Jerry Taft, Channel 8 News, reporting.
of
Therefore, you have the highway problem. We, all of us, must get into this, not just
Clayton Wyman, Wayne Hill.
Pressure does it put on you with just four days in between games?
Well, the biggest, as in 7, he is ready to play, which was sort of my case last week. I had a little all that in the 4 days to where.
Is there a special reason for this taking a little bit?
More or less?
A group of people at a distance, not people up close as much. So that since we're all at a distance from everybody, then we all can do something for the third world, because it's that next to, look at this. This is the argument that was used in the Senate. It passed both houses of Senate.
Your education must be in your tribal languages. There are 8 tribal languages. If you work in a city in South Africa, there are 10 very large cities, and the whites of South Africa have the second highest standard of living in the world, next to ours. If you work in a white city, you carry a pass by law. You must be out of the city by 9 o'clock at night. You must live in a township, a colored township if you're colored, an Asiatic township if you're Indian, and a black township, an African township if you're black. If you are Japanese, you have just been declared honorary white, because Japan is South Africa's major trading partner.